Hello and welcome to another optional extra video. I'm Mitch and joining me is Russell because we're taking a look at Dead Cells, and before we get into it this time I'm going to point out that I have played it for about two and a half hours, a bit during early access, a bit post-release today, and Russell has not played it at all.
I'm here for a counterbalance basically for you, Mitchell, a springboard as it were.
Because if I did this on my own it would be very awkward and I would get nowhere and it'd be terrible. So, to avoid that, Russell's here. Anyway, to talk about the game we're here to talk about, that we're taking a look at, it's Dead Cells. It's a Rogue-Lite Metroidvania, and because it's roguelite, you die, you do it again, and you repeat it, while getting permanent upgrades to enhance your character, and the same Metroidvania things. So, you get things that like climb stuff and stuff. So it's got the loop of a roguelite and Metroidvania, obviously. Also procedurally generated, a bit like Chasm, definitely way more procedurally generated than Chasm because they're always different.
Yeah, and the frequency of it, right? Because you're assumedly dying so frequently that you want it to be really random.
Yeah, so I'll just jump right in into the combat, because as this is a roguelite, combat is so important, and I can't say how good this combat is enough, because they've really nailed the fast pace, the fluidity, dodge mechanics. You can also parry if you've got the right shield. It's very intense, and you die a lot.
One thing I noticed, like, how fast this game looks. Like, the character looks like Ninja Gaiden level, like, or Mark of Ninja, like one of those incredibly quick characters getting around.
Yeah, you're fast, and the enemies are also fast.
Yeah.
There's certain enemies that can chase you and teleport and stuff, so they're really built around your style being quick, and the enemies are also going to be quick. So combined, it's a very fast-paced, action-heavy game that gets to the point really fast. And the thing about roguelites is they have to be fun every single time you play it, because if it's not fun, you're not enjoying the loop. And this game certainly has the gameplay nailed, which makes it really fun, just dodging really quickly and stuff. The enemies are really clever, but the rewards throughout it keep you changing up your playstyle and thing depending on what random occurrences there are. So, like what weapons have been found or dropped, and at the start, what weapon you're given. So if you've unlocked it through this thing called cells, you can actually, this is your permanent upgrade. So you can use more of your healing flasks, Soulsy, or you can change up the weapons you start with, because by default you start with a sword, just a regular sword, and you also get given a couple other weapons at the start. So you're given a choice of, currently I'm given a choice of a bow or a shield, which they could be random things depending on my permanent upgrades.
How do you get the new weapons? Do you find them or do you buy them?
You get blueprints, so the blueprints unlock them as part of this randomly occurring thing. If you unlock the blueprint, you could then get the weapon as a starting weapon, or you can find it in the world. So
Enter the Gungeon type thing, where it's like
pretty much like Enter the Gungeon.
Yeah.
The way you unlock all of this through the cell system, which if you die, you don't keep these cells. These cells are lost. They're one of those currencies which I would prefer it if it stayed with you, and the other currency, gold, being the one that you lost, but I guess it gives you that really risk and reward of like, okay, I've got 20 of these cells. If I die, I lose them all. So you really want to, it increases the stakes of like, you want to make it to the end, and you need to make it to the end. So
how's that resource, like, do you have to win the game to use it, or do you have to...
To use it, you get to a checkpoint, so it's like you go in the intermission between levels,
right?
You can spend it.
Right.
So your goal there is like, it's the risky nature of like, this game's hard, I need these cells to progress and get easier ways to start and so forth. So
it's building that tension of like basically going, I have, 10 dead cells or whatever, I need to beat this chapter or whatever, this section, so I can spend it. Because if I die, I've lost them.
Yeah, so for example, I had 20-something, 21 I think, which we'll be playing on the video, and I died and lost all of it, and that felt like a big loss, like huge blow.
What's the kind of exchange rate like for these things? Like 21, what would that get you?
20, like they add to the number, so you need about, say the first upgrade I needed 35. So each time I just filled up that bar. So it's not a one-to-one, like I can buy something for every one. It's like I deposit these things in to eventually unlock it, or you can spend it on weapon blueprints, so you can get more weapons.
Right.
And
isn't it exponential cost? Like it gets more expensive each time you buy one?
When you get through the upgrade to the next one, it's obviously going to be more, and I don't think it affects all the other ones. I think it's just limited to that
Whatever
tier
that is,
that you're upgrading.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so I don't think it's like, well, now you need 50 when before you needed 40, but because you bought this upgrade. So yeah, that's not a thing. And yeah, to talk about the weapons, you're given access to a heap of weapons. So you get stuff like a sword, you get like a whip, you get a bow and arrow, you get a crossbow, and you get grenades, you get like traps. So you're given a whole heap of things to utilize to try and get through this world.
Is it one at a time? Oh, you can equip more than one.
You can equip two weapons, and you can have one grenade and one trap. So it gives you plenty of options, and the grenades are on a cooldown, traps on a cooldown. So you can utilize it in very interesting ways to try and claw your way through the Dead Cells world, which is tough.
How effective have you found other weapons? Slash, what's your favourite one?
I haven't actually used that many weapons. My favourite one was this sword that made them bleed.
Oh.
And I also had like a Molotov thing, which is cool.
Like actual like fire spreads out on the ground, or is it more just like impact?
Like it spreads onto them, so that'll be burning after that. And the sword will do the bleed, which they bleed for a certain amount of damage till it wears out, like you'd expect. As well as weapons, you're given access to mutations. You're basically a witcher. They're temporary things to that life. So
what do you purchase with Dead Cells or the gold?
you're given them every time you
okay.
get to this part. So it's just like you get them each run, and they're given, yeah, as I said, like heaps of different options to what you can do, and it's really adds to it, which that was not in early access when I played it. So
it makes sense because it reminds me like Binding of Isaac. It's like it's trying to really like change up each run through. It's like, oh, I get a cool new ability now that makes this feel really different, even though I might be versing similar enemies.
And because it's Metroidvania, you also get permanent abilities that give you better access to things. So the first one you get is like a vine, which allows you to summon this thing to climb up, which unlocks different paths. And the last one I got is like a teleportation at certain points, which it's like the little like Egyptian style idols that you find, and then you can load them and they'll teleport you somewhere. So you don't really have it on you.
So you have to find that idol in order to go somewhere special.
The way you get these is by defeating a boss, which are not at the end of every like world. You actually have to go looking for them. They're not just going to be like, I think there are proper bosses and there are these hidden bosses, which I don't think I've ever fought. No, I fought one proper boss and he killed me, so they're not easy to get to.
So like you're exploring this dungeon type map, and there's secret bosses in those areas, or you could just like speed run and go straight to the next area, I guess.
Yeah, you could try and find the way out, or you can like explore and go for the bosses. Which, yeah, there's also a couple of stats which you can get up, which aren't permanent as well. So you can get like, you can do more damage with red weapons, so that's your melee, or purple, which is your ranged, or green, which is just a more defensive survivability is what that's called. So
being a procedurally generated world, did you get sick of the visuals? Like, does it become like not good game design? I think for the most part the worlds are designed very well, and the fact you don't spend a lot of time in one. So you open with the sewers, or the sewery bit, or it's more a dungeon, and you get out of that in maybe 2 to 3 minutes. Then you're up on the outside of the castle, and then once you get through that, you may be on a rampart. Or if you go the other way, you're down the sewer in like the sewery swamp toxic bit, and it really keeps the game interesting, and you don't really feel like it's stagnant. And the other thing this game does with the world, it really rewards you for being fast. So you can go for the way where you go explore everything and whatever, or you can go, I need to get to this door because it locks in 5 minutes. So if you can get to that as quick as you can unlock some weapons and gear to help you along your way. So is that always going to be there? Oh, you don't know.
They're always there. You just need to find them in the right amount of speed. So yeah. So basically, the combat's awesome. The loop is quite interesting. The world stays interesting as well, and the graphics, I really like them, and the music's really nice as well. So wrapped up in a nice little present of Metroidvania goodness is Dead Cells.
Do you reckon like the runs in general will be on the shorter side, or it's like I guess you wouldn't have a clue like how long it is, but does it feel like the first area is like biggish, or it's like no, it's probably like an hour to do the whole run if you can good enough?
To do the whole run, I reckon probably under an hour. If you have all the abilities, you can get through it really fast. I think you can build up to that point, but initially you're not going to get too far, and because it's a roguelite, as you keep playing, you'll get better as a player, and you'll get better upgrades and so forth. So I think Dead Cells is definitely worth playing, because if you like Metroidvanias, this game is everything, and it keeps it going, it keeps it fresh, and it's got a couple of different modes of like challenge runs and all kinds of things to keep you interested in it. And
it just sounds like it does the roguelike really great service. Like, it has the right amount of having the gameplay being an addictive loop that keeps you going through same areas again and again and again, which is so key with these games. They have to be enjoyable to do that.
They've done that. They've done that really well, which, you know, for Metroidvania, they need to get that loop right, and for a roguelite, they have to get that loop right. So they've got both right. So it really makes it a special game that I think is worth everyone's time if you like this sort of thing. It is difficult, though. It's been described as like Bloodborne, the Metroidvania, and like other things. And I mean, yeah, if you fail to dodge at the right time, you will take a chunk of damage. And, like, you don't have much access to health, and the runs get more desperate and desperate.
It's like, as you said, like, it keeps you getting better at it, so it feels more rewarding. It's like, you may suck initially, dying frequently, and then you get stronger through the roguelike mechanics, and you get better naturally. So it's like, it all works out together, which sounds excellent. It was already like on my radar of a game I should pick up, and nothing you've said right now has changed my mind of, like, this game you should buy. Like, it sounds like it's succeeded in everything it attempted to do.
But yeah, thank you for coming on here once again to hear me ramble on about some game I've been playing.
No problem, Mitch.
Thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you can like and subscribe as you do on YouTube, or don't. You know, you're a free person. You make your own decisions. But anyway, that's it for us, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.